Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to tell you how to visit the legendary Chateau, the infamous setting of the Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Yes, it is a real location that you can visit in real life. It's located just 4 kilometers off the coast of Marseille in southern France on a small island. It's one of my favorite things to do in Marseille, and if the weather cooperates, this is an absolutely iconic experience to have on your bucket list, whether or not you've read the book. The Chateau was built in the 16th century as a defense for Marseille, and eventually it became one of France's most notorious prisons. Its isolated location made it ideal for holding political prisoners, religious dissenters, and basically anyone the French monarchy wanted out of sight. In that way, it's a little bit like the famous Alcatraz prison in the San Francisco Bay. Nowadays, the Chateau is most famous as the prison of Alexandre Dumas' fictional hero, Edmond Dantes, in the Count of Monte Cristo. In case you don't remember, Edmond was falsely imprisoned here for 13 years before devising a way to escape the island prison and enact revenge on all those responsible. You can walk the same stone halls that once held real-life prisoners and imagine the fictional escape of Edmond Dantes. To do that, you'll need to head to the old port of Marseille and find one of the 2 boat company booths that take visitors out to the island. There's one on each side of the port, and both offer round-trip boat tickets at multiple times throughout the day, costing between 11 to 12 euro. One thing people may not realize is that it's not uncommon for the boats to stop running to the Chateau. Even if it looks like a calm, beautiful day from the land, the boat companies may choose not to take people out due to choppy waters that can make it dangerous to dock at the island and have people unload. I went on a beautiful, clear day, and the first boat company I went to made the call that they were not going out to the island. Luckily, I decided to check out the other company, and they said that they would do a trial run to the island, meaning I could buy a round-trip ticket, but they could not guarantee that I would actually be able to get off the boat and tour the island. I decided to take the risk, and I'm so glad I did because we were able to dock, and I was able to explore the iconic island. If you're only in Marseille for a short time and seeing the Chateau is important to you, you will want to take this into account that you might have to try it on multiple days before you can get there, and recognize that you may not be able to get there on any of the days. The ferry ride takes between 25 to 50 minutes depending on if they make any stops at other islands along the way. And honestly, it's pretty choppy. If you get seasick, definitely buy some dramamine or other seasickness medicine at one of the pharmacies along the port, or bring your own. Once you get to the island, make sure to take note of the return ferry times. You can choose whichever time you like, but you don't want to get stuck on the island longer than you're intending, especially not 13 years. So then you'll hike your way up to the main level and finally get to take in the entrance to the Chateau. Note that your ferry ticket is not a ticket to the actual fortress. You'll have to buy that separately to enter. Once you finally go inside the Chateau, you see this absolutely incredible courtyard in the interior, surrounded on all sides by prisoners' cells. On the main floor, you'll find one marked as the cell of Edmond Dantes, though of course no such person was really a prisoner here. It's just them leaning into their literary heritage and hey, I am here for it. Inside Edmond's cell, you'll see just the bare bones bedding that a prisoner would have had, and you'll even get to see a hole dug between his cell and that of the Abbé Faria. In the novel, The Count of Monte Cristo, the 2 prisoners' cells are actually in the dungeons, the worst cells reserved for those that the governors deemed mad. At the real Chateau, they've put the rooms on the main floor just for the ease of visitors, even if it isn't exactly accurate to the book. In other rooms inside the prison, you'll also be able to see multiple display points that tell you more about the life of Alexandre Dumas and his famous novel, as well as how that novel has influenced the history of the prison and its status as a tourist destination today. I recommend spending some time in these educational rooms because you really will learn a lot. You're also able to climb a series of narrow spiral staircases and come out on top of the prison roof for some absolutely incredible panoramic views of Marseille and the French coast. What with the blue skies and seabirds soaring overhead and that silhouette of Notre-Dame de la Garde on the horizon, this view was an absolute highlight of my visit to the Chateau d'If. When you're ready, make sure that you don't skip the Chateau d'If gift shop. Of course, I recommend buying a copy of the Count of Monte Cristo there, even if you already have one at home, because if you buy it here, you will get a Chateau d'If stamp inside the book that you can't get anywhere else. Here are a few practical tips to keep in mind. I personally would not recommend buying your boat ticket in advance because of the uncertainty involved in getting to the Chateau d'If. Of course, if that makes you nervous and you like the security of pre-booking, they do have online booking. The ferries tend to depart back to Marseille approximately an hour after they arrive on the island. That hour is just enough time at the Chateau d'If if you're moving along pretty quickly. But if you want to spend more time exploring the prison and the island, you'll need to wait for the next boat and spend a minimum of 2 hours there. For most casual visitors, an hour is probably sufficient, but you definitely won't have time to dawdle or linger in any of the rooms. Hope you enjoyed this guide to visiting Chateau d'If, and for more literary travel destinations, make sure you find me at awellreadwanderer.ck.page. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.